Hey, this is Josh.
And Marissa.
And after posting our most recent short, we received questions on how it all came together, so we decided to create this behind the scenes of our short crafts and stuff.
This started with an idea of making a creepy sheet guy with glowing eyes, so we went out and bought this foam head, scooped out its eyeballs, and put in some little finger lights. And it didn't look nearly as spooky as we thought it would. Well, then we just had a foam head with scooped out eyes laying around the house, and we realized that was already spooky on its own. So we went back and got another foam head, but this time left its eyes in.
From here, we knew that the end result was going to be a foam head on somebody's body, and have it kind of standing in the dark around the house. This idea shifted and morphed until we finally landed on the arts and crafts angle. After some quick storyboarding, we jumped right into filming. You'll notice this footage looks different from the end result. That's because we started filming with an old Canon T3i. After a solid night of work, we switched to shooting with a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, which looked drastically better. So we started over from the top.
We liked the light provided by this lantern and knew we wanted a shot of it rolling across the floor to reveal the decapitated head, so we added this shed scene to justify its use later when the lights go out. For these dolly shots, we used a shitty dolly created from David F. Sandberg's tutorial on how to build a shitty dolly. We also used his paper lantern lighting system. He and his wife post great content and are huge inspirations to us, and we highly recommend checking out his tutorials and shorts. You can find a link in the description below.
By now, we realized we were going to run into a problem, blending the end of the foam neck into Marissa's neck. And the outfit she was wearing wasn't doing much to help hide that. So we decided to throw in this quick shot of her putting a hoodie on so we can use that to cover up as much of the seam as possible. Problem solved. Or so we thought. The hoodie wasn't really doing anything either to cover up her neck, but we had already come this far with the hoodie on, so we just kept moving forward.
And we found this to be a lot of the filmmaking process. You'd start with some idea, run into several roadblocks, problem solve, and move forward, usually ending up with something completely different than what we had in mind to begin with. This shot where all the lights shut off took a little bit of multitasking. We plugged all the lights into extension cords, which were then plugged into different power strips, which were then controlled by Josh's feet. So, after I hit my mark, it was just up to Josh slamming his foot on the power strips on and off switches. This took a lot of takes to get one we were happy with.
The VFX shots were all done in After Effects using masks. The first was this cabinet door shutting on its own. I duplicated the shot, masked out the door, and then keyframed it to slide shut. The next and trickiest one was the lantern rolling to reveal the decapitated head. We filmed this 3 times, once with nothing as a slate, another with just the lantern rolling, and then again with Mars laying her head down trying not to flinch as the lantern comes rolling right at her face. We then mask out her body, and voila, a decapitated head.
You may notice something strange about the legs in this shot. That's because we decided it would just be easier for Josh to wear my clothes and shoes to walk over and pick up my head rather than doing it in post.
We played with different ways to get the foam head on her body. We filmed a blank slate, her standing over the box, and then we held the foam head where her head would be, that way the lighting would match. Masked out her head and the foam head, and positioned it on her neck. I ended up just taking a freeze frame of this and then adding some wiggle to the camera to look like it was handheld. The last VFX shot we did was putting her head in the box. We did this last because we knew it was going to destroy the box, so we had to be sure we got all the shots with it intact beforehand, and then it's the same deal as the others. Film one with an empty box, and then another with the wall removed and Mars laying down in the box. Then you just mask out her body, a head in a box. The music was all done in GarageBand, which allows you to import videos into your timeline. Now it was just up to finding some sounds that we thought sounded spooky enough. And then you can play the video and live record notes on top of it. My one regret is the tubas that play when the head first disappears. I can't watch it without it seeming like a comedy. I used this more creepy ambient synth for the reveals at the end, so I would have preferred to use those here instead.
All of the sound effects were added in post, and most were recorded in my closet to have a nice, clear sound. A few things like creaking doors and footsteps were just recorded around the house. The last thing we needed was the thumbnail. For this, we took a screenshot of me looking at the camera and another of the handwriting on the box. We brought them into Photoshop, and for the handwriting, we adjusted the brightness and contrast until it was just white and black. Inverted it, and set the layer to lighten. And that's how we make graphs and stuff. We hope you enjoyed it and found this behind the scenes helpful. Let us know if you have any questions and stay tuned for more.